2 steps ahead. I am always 2 steps ahead.
Bro, what? Nikocado Avocado might just be the world's most polarizing internet celebrity ever, given the countless amount of controversies he's been in. And in less than 24 hours, he's shifted from being the most hated person ever to the most beloved, after he dropped his most recent re-debut video called 2 Steps Ahead 5 days ago as of recording, on September 7th, 2024. Or was it the 6th? I don't know. And by no means am I a tea channel, nor do I really follow Nick as a creator, but I couldn't help but be a little bit curious about what everyone's been yelling and screaming about over the past few days. Because trust me, people have been yelling and screaming. So I thought it would be fun to give my little unqualified 2 cents and talk a little bit about the social implications of his comeback, namely how his fans are receiving him now in comparison to 7 months ago when he had his last video. And if you couldn't tell, there's a very big difference between those 2 videos. But before that, hi witches, wizards, and warlocks, you can call me Merlin, and welcome to my channel. And on this channel, I usually talk about whatever I feel like, but usually it's about books, pop culture, and makeup. So as you can see here, this is by far Nick's most popular video, which beats his other videos by 1.5 times, which is actually insane because this video came out 7 years ago. The most recent one came out less than a week ago. I honestly would not be surprised if the video had a couple more million views by the time this video comes out, because people are legitimately obsessed with this man right now. So I watched this video already, but let's go ahead and take another look-see.
This has been the greatest social experiment of my entire life. It's gripping to observe all these unwell, disoriented beings roam the internet.
Okay, first of all, I want to know why this man sounds like the Joker. I get that it's for the theatrics and for the views, but there's something so deeply unsettling about his tone and inflection. It's almost uncanny. Like, this is a mukbang, not a Stanley Kubrick film. And I feel like this is entirely his intention to creep people out to garner this type of attention. But a question you'll see me asking a lot through this video is why? Literally why? But I think that he does have a valid point that people will always talk on the internet. Whether it's good or bad things, they will always have something to say.
Where they involve themselves with the stories and become a product of influence.
Even this video is an example of it. I'm sitting here on my albeit small platform talking about this man that I don't know, nor do I really care about. Literally for no other reason than because it's really popular right now and I feel like it. Despite this video's possible repercussions, such as this video among thousands of others possibly contributing to the decline of his mental health yet again. So yeah, I am quite a hypocrite right now. But there is a conversation to be had about how if he didn't want people to talk about him and post about him for internet and content, he wouldn't have posted himself again. He wouldn't have come back. Much less with this creepy panda mask and his soliloquy. If he truly didn't want anyone to talk about him, he wouldn't document this transformation. But honestly, I don't really want to get into that, so we'll keep moving on.
So I am the villain. Because I've made myself one.
Okay, I know this is incredibly unserious, but does anyone think that he kind of sounds like Cassie from Euphoria?
Well, that makes me a villain. Then so fucking be it. I can play the fucking villain.
Also, I want to know, is he reading a script or is this all just coming straight off the dome? Because if not, it's kind of bars. I will say I kind of hate how he explicitly says that he will always remain relevant on the internet if he chooses to be known as the villain, because as you'll see, especially in his comment section in this specific video, people view him in quite a positive light right now. So he isn't really perceived as a villain. The evidence is literally there. He said it so himself. People switched up on him so fast. Not even a week ago, people were in his comments hating on him. Another thing I will say is that this video is quite sad because he keeps talking about how the past 8 years of his life have been a bad dream.
We were all just dreaming.
I'm sure I wasn't the only one to clock this, but after all the stuff we hear about influencers who have been in the limelight for as long as he has, it's got to take a toll on his mental health and be a traumatic experience. He has spent years in engaging in unhealthy habits that lead to the decline in his mental health, which is probably why he became so well known for his outbursts and mental breakdowns on camera, which he actively chose to publicize. But also there is the evident decline in his physical health, as seen where it was to the point where he couldn't walk properly. It appears to have been such a toxic relationship between his work and his well-being as a social media creator, because he was doing whatever he could do to get views and he became known as this person who was doing such awful things for his health. But then, because that was what was making him money, he had to keep doing it so that he could sustain his lifestyle. So this makes it clear that this toxic cycle was making him unhappy. I feel quite glad for him to see in this video that he seemed zen I guess. He seemed so much more happy with his state of being.
Cheers, everybody, to a new era.
Not the fact that he lost weight, but more so the fact that he just seems like he's in a better place physically and mentally. He looks like he's at peace. It kind of reminds me about this video I saw on TikTok of Trisha Paytas talking about her entire career, I suppose, and how she's so much more of a better person and how she's so much more happy with her family. And now she's like relatively unproblematic. Again, I don't really know much about these two influencers, but they seem so much happier than they were before, and I think that's something to celebrate. So the rest of the video is just basically him eating his black bean noodles, and honestly, I love that for him. I really do. Wishing him nothing but love and light in this healing era. But I cannot for the life of me listen to those insufferable slurping sounds. I just hate it when people are loud when they eat. It like grinds my gears, so I'm not gonna rewatch that part of the video. Mukbangs just like are not for me. God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers, and we all know I am not one of them. So now I'm more gonna talk about my thesis of the video, if you want to call this like a video essay. It's really not, just kind of like me adding my thoughts together and having my Google Doc. But I'm gonna talk about the fat phobia of it all. Whoa, yes, liberal libtard had to talk about fat phobia. Whatever, okay? This is my channel, and you chose to be here. Now, what I'm gonna say is nothing new, and it's probably not very nuanced, honestly. But we've all heard it before. We live in a society. Our society is fatphobic, especially in North America. I've heard some discourse about Nick in the past couple of days, like on TikTok through the grapevine and stuff. But surprisingly, I haven't heard anyone talk about just the general fat phobia, like in his career. I cannot be the only person who sees the correlation between these two things, though. What I hate most about this whole situation is the fact that from like scrolling through his comment section in like some of his videos, people are earnestly trying to defend themselves and their hatred towards this man. Like when they're going off in these comment sections talking about how unhealthy he was, how he was going to eat himself to death, all of which was incredibly valid and true. I will make that admission. However, I would be surprised if even a third of the people in his comment section actually earnestly cared about him. He has more than 4 million subscribers, but do these people actually care about him? I think not. I will say there's probably a lot of people who do genuinely care about this man and hope that he's okay and wanted him to lose weight for his health. But the fans, the haters, the people in his comment section don't know him. It doesn't matter how much he does or does not disclose on the internet about his personal life, which clearly was not a lot because he was able to hide his weight loss from the internet for 2 years. We don't know him, therefore we cannot truly care about him. Everything that we have to say about him means nothing because we don't know his life experience. Now, that's not to say that what I say, what other people on the internet say, what people in his comment section say doesn't contribute to how he feels about himself and like his perceptions of the world, because obviously it does. But I seriously doubt that the millions of people in his comments telling him to lose weight and telling him how awful of a person he was specifically because he was fat, gave him the motivation to lose this weight, because ultimately this is an internal thing you have to do. You have to truly want that for yourself, and clearly he did.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And like he said, this was all a social experiment. Obviously, there has to be some sort of intrinsic motivation within that. So all that those nasty comments would ever really do is just make him feel worse about himself. And that's because they were inherently malicious. So yeah, now it just really rubs me the wrong way that now that he's skinny, everyone is in his comments praising him, congratulating, telling him how much they're rooting for him, how proud of him they are. Girl, you're not proud. You're just happy that you think you bullied him into being skinny. Sure, it's nice to see him happier and in a healthier body, but it was never about that for so many people, so we should stop pretending that it was. I feel like we shouldn't have to say this in the year of our Lord 2024. Fat people are not bad for promoting an unhealthy lifestyle. They are just living how they're living. That's just the body that they inhabit. What the heck does that have to do with me? Nothing. Therefore, I don't comment on it because it's none of my business. But yeah, basically my thesis of the video is just that people hated Nick because he was fat, and now that he's in a smaller body, he's a genius, he's a hero, he's an inspiration. Like, do people not understand how fake they sound? Like, do you see what I'm saying here? There's no denying the fact that Nick was unhealthy. I'm never gonna say that he wasn't, because clearly he was. It was impacting his health. He said so in so many of his videos. But the social implications that are being pushed onto him, that fat people are inherently unhealthy and awful people, which we know to not be true, this isn't exclusive to just Nick. The demonization of plus size people, especially on the internet, people just minding their business, is absolutely monstrous. And I don't get why we let it slide time and time again. But now I'm gonna flip the coin and stop defending him, because in my opinion, people shouldn't have been hating on Nick because he was fat. Because yes, people were. I hear people in the comments being like, people hate him because of all these other things, blah, blah, blah. Yes. However, there were people who hated him just because he was fat. You can't like deny the fact that it's just true. But I'm gonna say, at the end of the day, it is his body, so he's free to do what he wants to do with it, and it's not up to us to tell him what he should do with it. But the reason why people always should have been criticizing him is because he's just a bad guy. So in a way, he is right, he is a villain. I don't want anyone to think that he deserves hate. He deserves valid criticism about his actions and to receive the subsequent consequences of said actions. So here's a list I've composed with some very surface level research about Nick's controversies. I use Wikipedia. I did stay up until 4 a.m. watching Stephanie Sue's videos yesterday. And I also watched some Moist Critical videos about it because of course I did. But you know it's bad when you have a whole section on Wikipedia talking about your controversies. In no particular order, he has evidently been harassing, cyberbullying, and manipulating and threatening Stephanie Sue. There was that whole controversy that happened like 4 years ago with him taking pictures of her house and sending a whole hate campaign on her. It was weird behavior. He also threatened and harassed this guy from New York because he didn't sleep with him after they ate together or something. He also constantly exposes private conversations that he has with his friends and others without their consent. So he'll like post screenshots of conversations on his stories and videos and stuff, which is just like generally not a nice thing to do. He also mocked Stephanie Sue in his most recent video with the panda head, because I've seen some stuff with Stephanie Sue's husband using a panda head, and then he has a panda head in this video. It's just giving suspicious. It's giving a little weird. And then he also like just generally lies and sensationalizes his health concerns. And then also finally he blames his audience for his poor decisions in terms of his weight gain and the trajectory of his channel, which is just generally a crappy thing to do for your viewers because they do technically pay his bills. And not only that, but when I was discussing this with my friend who is a lot more knowledgeable about these issues, he had a really good point that not only was he just generally not a good person, but he was also just extremely unlikable. So he says, but I think people are mad at him because of his attitude. That's why I didn't like him. He made a video bragging about his huge penthouse and how he can look down on everyone doing their 9-to-5 jobs. Whether it was a joke or not was irrelevant because people were upset. He had breakdowns on camera a lot and never looked like he actually wanted to do something about his weight despite making tons of videos about it. He acted like a man-child a lot, pretending to be clueless when he's a master violinist, crying over small inconveniences like dropping his food. So all of this is just kind of like a major FU to his audience because he constantly insults their intelligence and is just kind of like mean to them. Question mark? I kind of have this like personal theory that the people who are extremely nice in his comments now kind of feel bad for treating him like actual garbage for the past 8 years. Because he was fat and people hate fat people for some reason, which is quite pessimistic. However, I will say that I do think a sizable amount of people in his comment section right now actually genuinely supported him throughout his career and like wanted the best for him, not only because of his weight gain but also his just like clear mental health issues that he's going through. Now I kind of just want to wrap this video up with some final thoughts about this whole debacle. One thing that I just kind of noticed is that he says he hasn't made a video in 2 years, but would that not add up? Because I see that he does a lot of collabs. With like a quick scroll through his channel, he does a lot of collabs with people. So if he's constantly publishing batches of videos throughout the past 2 years, wouldn't you be able to tell by the way that people look? Like, what if the person he was collabing with had black hair in the video, but like in real life they have orange hair? Wouldn't there be some kind of like discrepancy like that people would notice? I'm not gonna look out for it because I don't care enough, but you know. Also, I was wondering what exactly was the social experiment, because it's giving the same vibe as Cole Sprouse when he was on Tumblr all those years ago and he's like, this is the greatest social experiment of my life. Girl, what was the experiment? That people suck? That people are gonna talk about you all the time? Yeah, that's how the internet works. I'm just wondering, I don't know, maybe someone can fill in the gaps for me in the comment section. Like, what do you guys think about that? I'm just wondering, like, what was the social experiment? Because that's all stuff that we already knew. Like, we knew that people suck on the internet. We know that people will do anything and be sheep and talk about whatever they want on the internet. I'm literally living proof of this. Do I talk about tea on my channel? No. I'm here talking about this now. Like we've been known this. Like, I feel like this was supposed to be his big gotcha moment, but for me, it just falls flat because literally for the rest of the video, he's just eating noodles. It's just a regular video for him. Also, I just want to say that he is such a flawed individual, but I actually do hope that he continues to better himself, because we can see that he's clearly put the work in, but I don't think we as an audience should give him the platform to keep doing what he's doing, because again, he's just like not a good guy, and why would you want to platform a bad guy? But then again, Jeffree Star, James Charles, Mr. Beast, all these people have platforms, so what do I know? And then finally, I just want to say that how he lost weight is none of my concern, and it shouldn't really be anyone except him and his doctor's concern, because I have seen people speculate about how he lost weight. People are saying Ozempic, people are saying he had a fat suit on, people are saying whatever. It's his body. He doesn't owe us that explanation, and we are not entitled to theorize about it. So not too much, y'all. Anyways, that's basically all I have to say about this video. Stop being mean to fat people, and he's genuinely bad guy, so maybe don't like him because he's a bad guy. Don't dislike him because he was fat. I don't know. Be nicer. We need to chill on the internet. Like, stop being mean to people. Anyways, I hope you liked this video. If you have any thoughts, any theories, any criticisms, leave it in the comments. I'm interested to see what people have to say. I don't foresee myself talking about this kind of stuff very often, so don't expect it. But if you do like me and like what I have to say, just in general, then feel free to subscribe, turn on the bell notification so you know when I upload, and all my other social media that I want you to follow will be linked in the description. And if you watch the whole video, feel free to put the exclamation point emoji, because that's what I felt when I saw that creepy ass thumbnail. Shocked. Fear. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will say bye with, I just used this. Okay, bye guys.
Wow. Thank you.